Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today is Thursday the 22nd of December. It's only 2 or 3 days to Christmas. This is Christmas week and this is 8 p.m. This is the top of peak season here in Pattaya. So we're at the bottom of Soi 7 on Beach Road and we're going to walk up Soi 7 and then down Soi 8 while we have a look for and a chat about where are all the 9s and 10s? Where have they gone? I've been looking around all the beer bars in most of Pattaya since high season started in November to see if any of the 9s and 10s had returned to Pattaya since the full reopening, but without much luck. There are a couple of bars on Sober Cow and one on Pothole which have a few 8s, but nothing more than that. And I've looked in all the gents clubs and it's the same story. The best I could find was an 8. So this is obviously all in my opinion, but I'm sure a lot of you guys would have a similar opinion. So I thought they must be going to the nightclubs. So last Saturday night I went to Walking Street at midnight and I spent over an hour searching 7 nightclubs to see if I could find any 9s or 10s. I started at the beginning of Walking Street at Redcar, which had only about 20 people in it, so I left the place straight away and I walked up the street to Lucifer's, which is on the right just a bit further up. Now that was quite busy. I looked around and I found very average looking girls, and also some tourist sort of guys. You can tell the tourists when you've been here for years like I have. Most of the guys there looked like they lived here, to be honest. They looked like expats, and the age was varied, quite varied. So then I went to 808 upstairs. And they were playing all the rap music that they usually play because they have a particular thing going there. About half of the customers looked African, which is normal there. And most of the girls were a little bit overweight. Again, normal there. So next I went to iBar and I found it much the same as Lucifer. Most of the girls were very average looking. The guys were in the 40s with the odd younger sort of Arab looking guys here and there. And I went upstairs to Insomnia and that was exactly the same as iBar, which I suppose would be normal. So I thought, well, I've got to go further. So I went across the road to Mist Club, which is a bit more trendy. And I was looking for 8s. I found a couple of 8+ there, and a mixture of younger and older guys. So lastly, I thought, well, let's try Republic because that's the best place, as people say. That's what the most people's opinion is. So it's actually the best looking club as well. I went inside, I looked around and it has like a mezzanine sort of balcony floor raised up, which is really good. You get a great view over the place, and the music was very good. Yeah, so that place I liked and I thought this is probably the best place. However, I searched around and I did in fact find a couple of 9s who were sharing a table and a bottle of Grey Goose with a couple of good-looking, young, very suntanned looking guys who were obviously here on vacation and splashing the money about. But apart from this, the rest of the girls, even in Republic, were very average. So I thought, this is ridiculous. Where are all the 9s and 10s like you used to see? These guys had a few, haven't they? Yeah. So I used to be able to see them all over the place, but I haven't seen one since, as I said, the lockdown finished. Then I thought, there's one more place that I'll try. So I made my way over there, and I went inside, and oh boy, I found every 9 and 10 in the whole of Pattaya, all under the same roof in this one place. And guess where that place is? Yeah, I'm sure some of you guys guessed it. Pinup on Walking Street. So I walked in, and it was very busy. Not many seats left, so I sat down and I looked around, and there were 5 separate podiums down the centre and then one across the back, and each podium was packed with girls standing shoulder to shoulder, so close that they were actually touching shoulders. You could not have even got one more girl on any of the podiums. I mean, I sort of did a rough count, and there were about 50 girls, 50 girls dancing, or just swaying about really, because they didn't have room to dance. They were so crushed up together. So I thought 50 was a pretty good number. But after I'd been sitting down for about 10 minutes, all the girls filed off the podium and were replaced by 50 completely different new ones. And these were models. But I know that because they were showgirls, okay? And all of them were 9s or 10s. All of them. So about 15 or 20 minutes later, when they'd had their session on the podium, they filed off again, and 50 new girls, and again another 50, different 50, went on and replaced them. So that was a total of what, 150 girls? I took a good look at the ones that I could see from the seat where I was in the centre, and I could see them all because the girls all rotated around. You know, they moved and crossed over and rotated. So I ended up seeing most of them, and I would say that 95% were 8 plus or 9, and then there's a handful of 10s. Then when I was sitting there, something I didn't expect to happen happened. All right, in this third group of girls, one of them kept looking at me and smiling and waving, and she just kept doing it for the whole 15 minutes, off and on, you know. And then when she finished dancing, she came over straight to me and sat down beside me and said, "Hello, how are you? You remember me, yes?" Now, I took a good look at her face, and I thought, oh yes, I do remember your face, but I can't think from where. And I said, give me the name of the place where we met. And she told me a well-known bar on Soy 6. Then it all came flooding back, and I remembered she was by far the best-looking girl in that bar back in the day, which was 2019, because she's at least an 8 plus. So I thought, this is an opportunity to check the current prices. So I bought her a drink, and I started chatting, and I asked her what her bar fine was, and she said she's a coyote, not a showgirl, and her bar fine is 1400. But she said she can't be bar fined unless she's had 5 lady drinks, which are 200 baht each. So I did some maths there, and I thought, back 3 years to 2019 on Soy 6, when the grand total then was 1400. The grand total. Now, that would be only cover the bar fine. And the grand total would be, what, 3-fold more for the same thing. So I asked her what the difference was working here compared to Soy 6. And the first thing she said, the very first thing, was, I don't have to bar fine. anymore because of the wage and the drinks commission and the tips. It's enough. Now let me just show you a photograph I took outside of Pinup showing the wages, and then you'll know what she's talking about. So on the left it says a 10-day period, then it gives the amount of wages. Below it says the amount of money which they're paid for each drink, and to the right the number of drinks that they have to do in a 10-day period. And you'll see there's three groups. The most highly paid are the models, which are the showgirls. Under that you've got the coyote, the normal dancers, and then under that you've got the promotion girls. That's the ones who are outside with the dresses on. That's the way it is now. Okay, you add that up. You just add that up and see what they can make in a month. So I asked her, do many of the girls actually bar fine now? And she said, yes, quite a few of them do, but only really if they like the guy. And it's mostly the young Koreans that they bar fine with. And then for the first time I actually sort of looked around at the customers, because I had been distracted by the girls before then, and I realised that she was absolutely correct. The place was full of fairly youngish Korean guys. No doubt on a 1 week or even a long weekend break. After all, Seoul is only a 5-hour flight away, and the same sort of place as Pinup in their country would cost them at least double. So that's where all the 9s and 10s are, guy. That's where they've gone to. They've been sort of vacuumed up by agencies and what have you, gone through the whole of Pattaya, and there's not 1 9 or 10 left anywhere practically. They've all been grabbed and taken and are now working in places like Pinup, most of them in Pinup. But just to briefly continue on the subject of the girls' wages, I was chatting to my hairdresser friend about this, and she said she'd noticed a change in the young dancing girls' behaviour recently. She said these young dancing girls are having more and more Thai boyfriends calling them all the time, even when they're in the hairdressers, and sweet talking them. I mean, some young girls even opened the speaker on the phone so my hairdresser could hear what the guy was saying, and then later on they had a big laugh about it. But my hairdresser was saying that the young Thai boys are taking much more of an interest in the very young dancing girls than they ever used to. Almost like they were being targeted by the young boys. And when we discussed why all this recent change had been happening, it's only since the reopening really, my hairdresser friend said, well, these young girls are earning a fortune now, much more than they ever used to before COVID, because the bars are paying them big money, like 20,000 baht on a 10-day contract, plus tips and drinks. On anything over 6 drinks each night, and most of the pretty ones are on about 20 drinks a night. So many of the young pretty dancing girls are pushing 100,000 baht a month. That's like nearly $3,000, which is a fortune for a young Isan farm girl. And the young good-looking Thai boys have noticed how much money these girls who don't have the kids are splashing around, and they want a piece of the action. My hairdresser said that the girls are working a 10-day contract in the bar. Some of these girls, she told me everything, and she said then they have a 3-day break before they go back to the next 10 days, and in that 3-day break they're taking their new, young, handsome Thai boyfriend somewhere like Koh Samet for 3 days for a break. And she will not only pay for the bus and the hotel and the food and the ferry and everything, but buy him some presents as well. Now, if she happens to have any foreign sponsors or regular customers asking where she is, she just says, I'm going home to Isan for 3 days to see my family. This is Thailand. Well, the timing on that seemed to work out quite well. We've now got to the bottom of Soi 8, back down to Beach Road again. So that's really just some information for you that I've been wondering. I was on a bit of a mission trying to find out what was going on, and I seem to have found it now. We know what the score is now. By the way, just before I was filming, I walked past an exchange currency kiosk place, and I just took this picture so you'll see what the current prices are. So this is a picture, okay? So anyway, guys, we're back on Beach Road. There's the bars where it's not that busy considering it's Christmas week, is it? When you look. Anyway. We'll see what happens in 2023, won't we? Okay, guys, so thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and ring the bell and share and everything. And have a look down at Patreon. Click where it says more. And thank you very much for watching, guys. Thanks a lot. See you on the next one.